Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I'm not feeling very well. My family has had the death plague over the last 3-4 days. I have managed to avoid it, but I have now not avoided it. So I don't know if this happens to you people, but when I was your age, you would watch TV and you'd see commercials for people who were getting sick, and one of the symptoms was achy joints. You know what I mean? And I was like, because I was your age, like, whatever. When you're sick, you get a little snuffly and you get a cough. Shut up. Grow up, you stupid wussy old people. And then last night, Jordan, I wake up like 3 in the morning. Oh, my shoulders hurt. My knees hurt. My wrists hurt. My ankles hurt. Damn, man. Damn, son. So Ethan's not even here. Oh, yeah, he is. Hey, Ethan. So anyway, yeah, I'm not feeling well at all. I almost didn't come in today, but then I realized that in the first week it would make you all so sad if I wasn't here and you were stuck with the TOC. So I didn't want to risk breaking our early rapport. So I'm toughing out. You can still spend that. I'm toughing out early the sickness for this week only. If I was feeling like this next Thursday, I wouldn't have been here. But it's important. Anyway, so tidying up this guy. First thing you got to do, of course, is times plus. So that is negative 25 over 7. And then you remember that divided by means you multiply by the reciprocal, which is negative 8 over 5. Now, since they're both negative, you don't need to care about them because 2 negatives is going to make a positive. And then this is where you've been done a disservice by your previous math teachers, because many of them just say multiply straight across and simplify at the end. Now the problem with that is the numbers are very big. So I like to simplify now. And you simplify now by looking at anything on the numerator position and the denominator position that you can simplify. And of course you see that 25 and 5 work together. So what number goes into both 25 and 5? 5. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 25 5 times. And now I have 5 times 8, which is 40 over 7, which is a lot easier to deal with than 200 over 35. Now, for this case, 200 over 35 isn't that hard to deal with because one ends in 0, one ends in 5, so it's easy to simplify. But if we had something like 312 over 68, that would be a pain in the ass. Everybody understand? And then, of course, you would simplify that because 7 goes into 45 times, which covers 35 sevenths, and there's 5 sevenths left over. And we all remember how to do that. You just need reminders of how to do it every so often, because, of course, in the real world, you don't usually deal with fractions. How do you get to the 5 and 5 sevenths?
Yeah. How much time does it go in? How much time does 7 go into 40?
7 goes into 45 times, right? And 7 times 5 is 35, right? So I had 35 sevenths are right there. But I needed to cover 40 sevenths. So the remainder goes out here. Yeah. Yeah. You remember back to like grade 4 when you were being taught this. Long division, right?
Yeah.
And then you put the R out here.
Yeah.
And your teacher never told you what the R was important for because he or she was more... Yeah. But she never told you why you had to write it there. Because when you get to simplifying fractions, that remainder becomes important. But in grade 4, when you're learning long division, they just say, write the remainder up there, and then they stop talking about it. And then 2 years later, when you're multiplying and dividing fractions, you're like, oh yeah, remember that thing we taught you in grade 4? Well, now you got to use it. Right? 2 years after we taught it to you, and you haven't used it since. Which is why I don't like the way we teach math in Canada. But we're stuck with it, because we all live in Canada. Everybody good? Sweet. So let us move on then, cabbages. Lettuce? Cabbage? Okay. I know I used it yesterday, but people didn't laugh yesterday, even though it was funny yesterday. It's still funny now. Oh, a recycled joke isn't funny. Really? So that means every movie you've ever seen where somebody farts at the wrong time, you don't laugh? Look at you, you're laughing about it now and you don't even see someone fart. Recycled jokes aren't funny, Mr. Myers. Okay, yeah. If I farted right now, you would laugh your ass off, literally. You know that farts happen. Why do you laugh? Because farts are funny. I know that I'm a grown-up, but let's be honest, farts are freaking hilarious. This chart is on that sheet of paper that I'm going to give you that I forgot to photocopy again today. I'm old. You don't need to memorize it. Yes, Malik. Of course it's raw. Why would I edit it? That takes time. I've already given enough time to teaching you math. That's probably part of why my YouTube category is not education. It's comedy. I know, it drives me up the wall, Heather. I spend all this time teaching you about not just math. Let's be honest. We talk about a lot of stuff in here. You guys have only been here for a few days. We haven't had a chance to go off on a lot of sidebars about the rest of the world. But we will. You learn a crap ton in this room. Huh? I do rant a lot. Rants are important because let's be honest. The math we're doing is add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Should it really take that long to figure out?
Yes, it's hard.
So, yeah, I go on a few rants. And those rants are where we learn about stuff. But apparently it's comedy. I'm okay with it. I don't mind. Jerry D made a living out of starting as a substitute teacher. Now he's an actor. I don't watch the show Mr. D. I don't like it because he steals all my stuff. Mr. D. The show Mr. D. Don't worry about it. No. What, just because he's a teacher I know him? Are you like one of those people when I meet them in Arizona? Oh, you're Canadian? Do you know George from Toronto? You know what I say to those idiots? Yes. Oh, yeah, I do. Didn't you hear George died? And then they're all like, oh, no way! I'm like, yeah, it was really sudden. Nobody was sure what happened. And then I walk away. Because they're that stupid. 26 million people live in Canada. The chances are that I know George are pretty slim. Also, I tell them often I'm from Vancouver. And those idiots think that Vancouver and Toronto are close. No, they don't. I was in Tennessee once, Nathan. I was buying some food at a Wendy's. And the kid behind the counter says, you all don't sound like you're from around here. I said, no, I'm not from around here. I'm from Canada. He says, Canada? Wow, that's pretty cool. You want to buy a magazine subscription? And I said, what? I'm trying to buy a hamburger. He says, yeah, but I got to sell magazine subscriptions to raise money for my school. Say, how are you going to sell me a magazine subscription? We're in Tennessee. I live in Canada. He says, yeah, but Windsor is really close to Detroit. They're right across the river from each other. It's like Vancouver to Richmond. But I said, yeah, but you know that there's like 3,000 miles between Windsor and Vancouver. He's like, what? You know Canada's the second biggest country in the world. No, it's not. It's just that little bit of the line above us on the map. Graduating high school. And that idiot thinks that Canada ends where the map ends.
How old is that kid?
Graduating high school, so 18.
He thinks he's the little sliver when you look like America.
When you look at a map of America, he thinks Canada is that little bit that doesn't fit on the map.
Oh, so that's like where most people live, though.
Yes, that is where most of us live, but it is not indeed our entire country. I've driven all through America. There's a lot of places where not a lot of people live. It's still part of America.
You know Puerto Rico has more people than like 20 states?
Puerto Rico's a populated place. Why wouldn't it be populated? It's warm and sunny and awesome.
It's not a state, though.
No, it's a protectorate, like Guam. All right. You don't need to memorize all this. You're going to get it on a sheet of paper. That sheet of paper is going to be available for you to use on all your tests. So none of this needs to be memorized. This big empty block right here is where we're going to work out how to do this. This is a very simple thing to do, and it is very useful in every course you will take, and it is very useful in real life. We are going to do what is called unit conversion. Some of you will have already done this in science and physics, and that's cool. You're just going to bear with us, and that's all you're going to do. Unit conversions are always the same. It doesn't matter what you're converting. You might be converting Kreplachs to Kabubliheins. It doesn't matter. It is always the same thing. And it has real-life applications. I'll talk about those in a moment. This is how they work. You have a quantity. That quantity is what you want to convert. Okay? Whatever it is. It might be Canadian dollars into American dollars. It might be grams into a price. So you can tell if buying the big box of Cheerios is a better deal than buying 2 little ones. I know the screen just went blue. That's okay. So that's why it's useful. And you always do the same thing. You wait for your technology to catch up to you. You always do the same thing. You multiply by the following fraction. What you want over what you have. Now, what does that mean in real terms? The quantity is going to have a unit, isn't it? Might be Canadian dollars, might be kilograms, might be whatever. So this unit, the quantity's unit, is the same as this unit in the denominator, always. Now, what do you get to do when you have something the same on the top and the same on the bottom of a fraction? You get to cancel it out, right? So that's how you know what one you're getting rid of. Everybody cool? It's real easy when you see it in action. And unfortunately, though, when we're doing metric, you can all already do it in your head. We've proven that over the last couple of days, right? And the quantity, the conversion you are trying to make, Nathan. So if I have 400 Canadian dollars and I'm going to Disneyland, then the quantity I have that I am starting with is Canadian dollars. So I would have Canadian dollars there, yes? I have Canadian dollars, so I'd have Canadian dollars there. The Canadian dollars would cancel, and I would be left with the US dollars, which is what I want. Everybody understand?
Why don't you put 400 over 400?
Wait till we see an example, which is what we're about to do, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now remember, the first one here you can do in your head. But one of the mistakes that you guys make is when you can do something in your head, you just do it in your head without doing what you're supposed to do. And then when you get to something that you can't do in your head, you don't know how to do it. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about? It's kind of like when I give you an algebra question like this. You all know that's 7. But if I give you this, x plus 3.295 equals 14.7, now we're in trouble. Even though it's the exact same thing, right? If you had done the steps here, this is no problem. Everybody with me? So we're going to do this first one, even though while I am talking, half of you already know the answer. But we're still going to write it out properly. Everybody cool? So, what am I starting with? What is the quantity I have that I wish to convert? What's that, Joe? 485 centimeters, correct? And I wish to convert that to, what do I want? Meters. So meters goes on the top. What do I already have? Centimeters. So that goes on the bottom. Now I need some numbers here. I get the numbers from the chart. 1 centimeter, where is it? Where is it? 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. MCM. So I just put the numbers from the chart where they go. 1 and 100. And then I just do my math. Right? Do I ever have to multiply anything by 1? No. So we can forget about the 1. What do I get to do with this CM and this CM? Cancel them out. And what is this technically over? 1. So do I care about that one? No. So what's left? 485 over 100. And what math is that? Division. So it is 4.85. Of course, you just move the decimal. That's what I was talking about, Sage. You can do it in your head. All of you can. But the problem comes when we get to the second one, because it's inches to feet. It's not moving decimals because it's imperial, right? But the rule still applies. What am I starting with? 57 inches. I actually like to write inches. Times, what do I want? Feet over what do I have? Inches. Now I just put the numbers in here. I go to my chart and I see, even though most of you already know this, 1 foot equals 12 inches. So the 1 goes with the feet, 12 goes there, and I end up with 57 over 12. Now, what are you automatically going to do there? You're going to divide with your calculator, right? And is your calculator going to give you a fraction? No, it's going to give you a decimal. Some calculators will give a fraction. But if it gives you a decimal, you're in a bit of trouble, right? Because Imperial doesn't use decimals. So we know it's 4, and then it's going to give you a bunch of numbers, right? Now, the easiest thing to do is do what we just did with fractions. How many is 4 12s? No, 4 times 12 is 48, right? I need to cover 57 inches. There's 48 of them. How much is left over? 9. So 4 feet, 9 inches. Everybody understand?
Can you put the 9 over?
I was just going to say, you could also, of course, put 9 over 12 because it's 9/12 of a foot. What you have to be careful about, and all of you at one point or another have the potential to make this mistake, you need to be aware that 4 feet 9 inches is not 4.9 feet. Because feet do not use decimals. Everybody cool? Yeah, it doesn't work. Pardon me? No, inches use fractions. That's what we did at the end of yesterday. 1/16.
Because it's the base.
Yes. Everybody cool? All right. So 15 yards to feet, easy peasy. You can do this so simply, it's not even funny. 15 yards times, I want feet over yards. 1 yard is 3 feet. The 1 cancels, the yards cancel. What's left? 15 times 3, 45 feet. Is everybody good? Right? Okay, do these 3. What's weird about number 6? I put a decimal in it. It looks different. Will we change the way we do the math? No. Yours doesn't have a decimal? No, number 6. Okay, you guys go. Somebody choose a color for me. Orange it is. Is that feet or inches? 1 tick. Feet, good. You want yards, right? Because it says we're converting to yards. So you put yards on top, feet on the bottom. Then you need the numbers. Those you get from your chart.
Because number 3 was saying that you wanted the smaller.
Yes. So now this time we get rid of the 1, we get rid of the feet. What am I left with? 136 over 3. Now, what do you find out when you do that? It doesn't work, right? It gives you a decimal. It goes in 45 times, right? So what's 45 times 3? 135. How many do I have to cover? 136. So it's 45 yards and how many feet? 1 foot. Everybody understand? It's just like going from an improper fraction to a mixed numeral. 4.2 miles. I put that in there on purpose because remember how I said Imperial doesn't use decimals? when they get up to miles, they do tend to use decimals, which is yet another reason imperial is idiotic.
So for number 2, you can put it over something, but not for this one?
Well, for this one, you could have also written 45 yards and 1 out of 3 feet for the next yard. It's the same thing. Because it's 45 and 1/3 of a yard.
That's for longer,
Right? It is longer to write. I absolutely agree with you. Sticking with orange, I've got 2016 inches. And what do I want? So feet is on the numerator, inches is in the denominator. What numbers go here? 1 goes with the feet. 12 goes with the inches. The 1 cancels. The inches cancel. And what am I left with? 2016 over 12. I do that math with my calculator, and what do I get for a whole number? And does it work out perfectly? 168 feet. Is everybody cool? Okay, now do 6 the way you think you should do 6. Which part is confusing you, Sajjot? Oh, yeah. Don't even worry about that. If you want, don't even use them. Just write FT and IN. That's good enough for me. And if you're doing a test and I have it with the symbols and you can't remember it, just ask. Because that's not what I'm testing you on, right? I want you to know how to do it. I don't care if you can't remember it, right? I don't care if you never remember my middle name is Charles. If you can do math, you're still getting the A. You could. Yeah, you could. And that's another point that is important in the room, Sage. If you find a way to do something that works for you, I will never, ever tell you not to do that. So I'm starting with 4.2 miles, and I want feet. Feet over miles. And then I put my numbers in. Where's the 1 go? With the miles. What goes with feet? 5,280. Cancel the 1, cancel the miles. What am I left with? 4.2 times 5,280, which is something like 20,400 or something. 22,176 feet. Now, is number 6 a math class question or a real life question? It's a math class question, right? We would never measure 4 miles in feet.
Really? You go on US Highway, it's not in yards, it's in feet.
No, it's not. Only for the exits. But even the exits are like 1/4 of a mile.
You mean the exit is in meters?
In Canada, they're in meters. In the States, they're not. One time I was driving through the States at like 3 in the morning, and my wife was asleep in the car. And I saw this sign come up. It's 3 in the morning, so I'm pretty tired. And the sign comes up and says the next big town is 36 away. And I look at my gas tank. Oh, I got enough gas to get there. No problem. I don't have to wait, Catherine, up. I'm just going to keep driving. Of course, at 3 in the morning, not thinking, it's 36 watts in the States. Miles, which is like 50-something K. I ran out of gas on the side of the highway in the middle of Montana. No big deal. I left my wife locked in the car and walked. She woke up. She was like, I bet that idiot ran out of gas and went back to sleep. She was only my girlfriend at the time. She was allowed to call me an idiot. Oh, of course she is. She calls me an idiot all the time now. That's like she doesn't even call me Matt anymore. I'm lucky if I get idiot. It's usually moron. All right. 7, 8, 9, 10. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Nothing changes. Yards to inches. Stupid math class question, right?
Yeah. Can you keep the conversion?
Sure. Actually, while you guys are doing 7, 8, 9, 10, I'll print you out your data booklets right now. Just give me a sec. The piece of paper that has all these things on it so you can keep it with you. Yeah. Yes. Oh, no, it's okay. Some teachers get angry when kids go into the get stuff from the staff room. I don't know why they get angry, but they do. So I try not to send kids in there. Yeah. No. I just do that to show you canceling. No, you can just do it. You do them on a fairly, I wouldn't say regular basis, but you do a few of them. And it's something I like to do when I'm sick. If I'm not going to be here, I often give one of those that applies to what we're doing at the time. Yes, it is all either multiply or divide. How many of you are in here? 30? 30. Oh, I don't want to print in that stupid printer. That printer sucks. Print on both sides. Print. Okay, I'll be right back, everyone. Try to do those 4. And if you're really feeling confident, try to do some of the word ones. You're probably going to do something wrong on number 13, but we'll see. I'll be right back with your papers. Okay? Yeah, of course. Depends on where the 1 is, right? If the 1's on the bottom, you're multiplying. If the 1's on the top, you're dividing. That's what I'm here for. David, take one, pass them back, please.
There's no decimal.
Ladies and gentlemen, these things will be used, like I say, through a lot of our units. And on your final exam, this is what the information you will get. And on all your exams. Until you get to your final, you can just use this one. So if you've added a bunch of notes to it and stuff, I don't care. You can use it on your test. But on your final, you'll get a fresh one. Okay? Pardon me? No. Because you will get it on the day of your final. What? Pardon me? That's what we were talking about a couple of days ago. Because it's metric, you always know. You can go kilometers to meters and then meters to millimeters. Or, yeah, it is. All right. So this first one. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to do the answer because I don't want to get out my calculator. But this is going to be 5,250 times yards to inches. I want inches. 36 over 1 yard. 5,250 times 36. Then whatever that answer is. It's a big number. I don't know what it is. 189,000 sounds good. And that, of course, is a math class question, yeah?
No. Yes.
Yeah. Millimeters. I want centimeters. I have millimeters. 1 centimeter is 10. The 1 cancels. So it's 1,250 divided by 10, 125. Now, decimal. Is decimals allowed in SI?
Yes.
Yep. So I can just leave it as 0.25 meters. And I want to go to centimeters. Centimeters over meters. 100. Multiply by 100. I move the decimal twice. 3,725 centimeters. Now, this one is a problem because when you look on your chart, I don't give you millimeters to kilometers because that's an idiotic conversion, isn't it? We would never do this conversion. So why would I put it on the test? Just to show you that you can do it in your head even from SI. You know you got to go from kilometers down to millimeters, right? So kilometers to meters is 3 steps, yeah? Kilo, hecto, deca, meter. And then meter down to millimeter is deci, centi, milli, right? So how many steps is that? Right, kilometer. So I'm going to move 6 steps, which means this decimal has to move how many spaces? 6 spaces. And of course, you know, what is the number that we put in the holes? 0. So I started with 17.2, and I got to move it 6 spots, right? To hecto, to deca, to base, to deci, to centi, to milli. And there's your answer.
When I did the math, it came up with different numbers.
2. Some of your calculators won't show numbers that small. It'll put it in scientific notation, right? Which is probably 1.72 times 10 to the negative 7.
Mine put it like, I did it, it was like, I just reduced it a bunch of times. Like, it was like, for 1 kilometer, there's 30,000.
Of course. Because if you do this, does that show me you understand the metric system? Of course, but you can't do that with imperial, right? You got to write it for imperial. Something, right? Okay. So I said you probably wouldn't have any trouble until number 13. So, and number 13, you're going to get the right number, but you might have the wrong answer. Number 13 is a very important question. So this one first is, of course, 76 inches. Everybody knows why, yes? Because 6 feet covers 6 times 12, that's 72. And then 4 more inches is 76. Everyone is good? All right. 5 yards, 2 feet. What is the length of the room in inches? Well, the yards is 5 times 36, which is 180. The inches is 2 times 12, which is 24. And then I add them, to get 204 inches. Is everybody good to there? While I was out of the room. Excellent. Now, why is number 13 a problem? Well, the fabric's in yards. You're cutting it into inches. So what do you need to do? Jordan? I got to convert yards to inches, right? And we can do that. That's pretty easy. 6 times 36 is 216 inches, yeah? And I'm cutting it into strips how wide? So what math am I doing to that? I'm dividing by 5. Now here's where you're going to make a mistake. You're all going to enter this on your calculator. You're going to do 216 divided by 5. What are you going to get? 43.2. Right?
Yeah.
Can you have 0.2 of a banner? No. So how many banners can you make? 43. Now, on a test, I am just so mean as to put choice A of 43.2. Because what's going to be showing on your calculator screen? Is that the right answer? No. I will put the right answer down here at D. And most of you will circle A the first time. You won't make that mistake again. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Now here's another thing where math differs from real life. In math class, what would you do with this number? What would you round it to? 45. In real life, you're cutting banners. How many banners can I make? 44. Because you don't have enough to make that last banner. Does everybody understand that? Again, real life is different than math class. So if that happens, if you're making something, you got to watch your rounding. Okay? You got to read what you're doing. Yes? What do you mean? No. You've got to know if it's real life. Are we cutting up banners? Is that something that could happen in real life? So that's a real life question. Picking up what I'm putting down? Okay.
When it's saying 6 before the phone, when it's saying 216 over 5,
Mm-hmm.
that's like the 216 is the
Inches, and we're cutting them into 5-inch strips. So we're dividing that 216 into 5-inch chunks.
Yeah. And then the 43 you put decimals, that's not in inches, it's just like
That's how many banners I would have. If I was a real dinky teacher, I could put 43 inches here and 43 banners there and see how many of you circled B. That would be really dinky. I would never do that to you because I, Grinchy heart 3 sizes too big, you guys. What, you don't believe me? That's hurtful. Why you got to be that way? All right. Have I told you how I want this calculated?
2,000 minus this.
You could do 2,000 minus 755. Then what would your answer be in? Meters. You could also do 2 minus what? 0.755. And then your answer would be in what? Kilometers. Is either one better or worse than the other? No, I don't care. Unless I specifically were to ask.
Couldn't you just like change put a decimal in the question too? Put like 1.245.
Well, this would be 1,245 meters. But this would be 1.245 kilometers. You couldn't put that there. Because 1.245 meters is this long. That's not a kilometer.
If it's 2,000 minus 755, but then I put that number, but then I put the unit in it.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't care.
Like if I just
Yep. I hear what you're saying. You want to do that calculation, but tell me the answer is 1.245 km.
yeah.
Fine. No problem at all. This is not elementary school. The only rule I have that bothers me, and I will still mark your work, is if you do your tests in pen. I should have mentioned that. Please don't do that. Because it's a real pain. You guys do a whole page worth of work, realize you've done it all wrong, and then try to cram a whole page worth of work into one little corner, and I'm supposed to mark that. Don't do that. All right, this one's different because it's in kilometers. Do I have to do anything with this? No. So it's going to be 1.35 plus. Do I have to do anything with this? Yeah, but I can do it in my head, can't I? How far does the decimal move meters to kilometers? 3 meters to kilometers. So it's right here now, yes? So how far does it move? 3. 1, 2, 3. 0.125. Now I'm in trouble. How far does it move for centimeters? Centi to meter, that's 1. Centi to meter, but not meter. Centi to deci. I forgot deci. Deci to meter, meter to deca, deca to hecto, hecto to kilo. 5 spaces. What goes in the holes? Zeros. So 2 of them are taken up here, so I need how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, and a 4. And then I just add it up. And it's 1.4754 km. Everybody good? Okay, this one I want to do in yards. Do I have to change the yards? Obviously not, but I got to change the miles. 4 times what? How many yards in a mile on our sheets? 1,700 is 40 or 60? I can never remember. 60? So that gives me a number. Then I'm going to add 12. Now 13 inches. I want it in yards. Yuck. This part's easy, right? You're just going to hit that up with your calculator to get 3,400, 6,800, 7,060, right? Plus 12, 7,000, no, 7,050? 40. 7,040 plus 12, 7,052. Now I got to add 13 inches. Is 13 inches even 1 yard? No, it's a third of a yard, kinda. So what could I write here? It's 13 out of what? How many inches are in a yard? So I could write that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes. I could also write 7,052 yards. How many feet are there in 13 inches? 1 foot. And then how many inches are left over? 1 inch. Both of those would be acceptable.
It's 60, not 40.
It is 60?
It says 60.
Yeah, I wrote 60 right there.
But there it says 50.
Well, 4,000 times 1,760. 4 times that is 7,050, isn't it? 7,052. Or 7,040 plus the 12.
Yeah.
Right? It was 7,040, yeah? Okay. Now, do both of those show me that you know how to convert? Yes. So, if half the class wrote that for an answer, half the class wrote that for an answer, does everybody get their full marks?
Yeah.
Yes, because they both show me that you understand the concept. Okay? Is everybody with me? That is something I'm going to say a lot. Do you know what you are doing, as opposed to, are you writing it down exactly the way I do? I don't care if you write it down exactly the way I do. I don't care if your answer looks slightly different than mine, if it shows understanding of the concept. Is everybody with me? Okay. These 2 pages, these 2 questions screw everybody up. Try them. They're trickier than you think. Yeah, go ahead. Yep. .836. We shouldn't have decimals. Oh, okay. So if you got the .836, you knew it was 7,052, right? Okay. So what you can do with these, and I'm glad you asked because I always forget to show this. That is .836 of a yard, isn't it? Well, if Jacqueline did this math, She ended up with 7,052.836 yards, right? So she needs that yards in something we can work with, yeah? So you could go 0.836 yards, and you want feet, right? So it would be 8.836 times 3, which would get you 1 foot and some more decimals. You with me? Yeah, it does. We're getting to that. But because we went past 7,052 and we're in imperial, so we should technically do one of these two things, right? This is just one of those technical things, Jacqueline, that I, again, don't really care about. But I can't guarantee that all your future math teachers won't care about it. So I want you to see how to do it right down to the most picky way possible. You with me? Yeah, so you would go 0.836 times 3. That would get you 1 and then a decimal, whatever that was. And then you would convert that decimal to inches. You just keep going with the decimals. And actually, you're going to do that on the very last question of this assignment. I'm going to ask you to change a bunch of hours to days and minutes. To days, hours, and minutes. So you're going to have to keep doing the decimal part down the line. All right, try number 17. That is feet and feet. Yo. You couldn't do 15. Okay, well, everybody else working on 17. You're looking at 15. Okay, so what part is the problem here? Are you cool with this?
Yeah, I got all the numbers there. I can't get that.
Well, I added that up in my head, so let's just check. 1, 2, 5, and 0, 0, 0, 4. 0 and 4 is 4, 5 and 0 is 5, 5 and 2 is 7, 3 and 1 is 4, 1.4754. Well, 125 meters to kilometers is 125 divided by 1,000, right? So that's the 0.125. And centimeters is 40 divided by 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Yep, but I'm not showing anything right now. You guys are working anyway.
How are we going to be able to remember like all the separate steps in between? Because I always forget what the other thing you don't use.
Pardon me?
I always forget about the separate steps. Like, are you talking about question 15, like for 0, 0, 4? I always forget about the different steps. I got it on my these like deck that
Well, then you would have to convert 40 centimeters to meters, and then whatever that answer was, so that's going to equal X. Then you would have to do X meters to kilometers.
Because it in meters is just 0.4.
Yeah. So then you would have to do the meters to kilometers. You would just have to do the
It's 1,000.
yeah. All right. 3 feet by 5 feet. It's a big picture. How many inches of frame do I have to buy?
Like area?
No. Inches going around the outside. That's perimeter. Jenna.
2,160.
So I need to go 3. Sorry, that should have been 5 by 3, correct? Everyone agree? Okay. So how long is this side? Because the picture has 4 sides. 5. And how long is this side? So how many inches here? How do I go feet to inches? Times 12. So what do I have to do here? Times 12. What do I have to do here? Times 12. What do I have to do here? And then that's going to get me 60 and 36. What's down here? 60. And what's here? 36. Now, let's say you draw it all out, but you accidentally multiply somewhere where you should have added. But you've got the whole drawing there. What do I give you? If it was out of 1, I'd at least give you half a mark. I would never make a question like this out of 1. Everybody understand? So our final answer, 60 and 60, is 120, plus 36 and 36 is 72. So I need 192 inches of frame.
I accidentally put 36.
It's okay. Does everybody understand? Now, where this screws you up is when we get to the next question. The frame is 1 inch thick. So the picture I'm going to draw in blue. The picture is how long right here? 36, right? How long here? 60. We already know that from the last question, right? But the frame is 1 inch thick. So how much do I add there? 1. How much do I add there? So what is my new distance of frame? 61? 62. And how many 62s are there? 2 of them, because there's one on the top and one on the bottom. And then how long did I add here? 1. And here? So what is this now? Add 4? 38 times 2. And then what do I do with that answer? I get the answer and I add them. Everybody understand? Well, it was 36, but I added 1 inch of thickness on both ends. Oh, excuse me, my mother is sending me a text. I forgot to turn the sound off on my phone. You would think that my mother would know that I was teaching. Moms. It's because she's retired and doesn't have a job anymore. She forgets that other people do. Pardon me, Nathan? Because there's a 38 here. This is 36, and then I added the inch of frame on each end. Because there's 2 edges. And the answer is 124 plus 76 is 200. Everybody good? Now please notice, which of these is the actual real life question? Is it 17 or 18? It's 18, because all frames have thickness, don't they? Right? Everybody understand? The math was super easy in number 17. Oh, I just add up the edges. But in reality, it's not just add up the edges, is it? In reality, we got to remember every frame has a thickness. Number 19 was a question that came off an old provincial exam. I'm telling you right now, it's a piece of crap question. Why is it a bad question? What's wrong with that question? No, living room's not too big. That's inches. It's not 185 feet of living room. That's okay. So the living room's cool. What else could be wrong? Nathan? It's got feet and inches, but we know how to convert between them. How many of you know what that means? It's not a math question anymore, is it? If you don't know what a linear foot is, you're in trouble. Does anybody want to guess what it is, or does anybody know? It's a straight foot, no matter what you are measuring. So even if the thing you are measuring is like that wide, a linear foot is just how far it stretches, even if it was this big. Everybody understand? Let me give you another example. When we measure our height, how do we measure it? From the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, yes? In what kind of line? A straight line. I don't measure my height on the outline of my body, do I? No, I measure in a straight line. That is a linear foot. Because it doesn't matter how fat or skinny I am, I'm still 5 foot 8 inches tall. Well, 5 foot 7.5. Right? That's what linear foot means. So this stuff that we're buying, doesn't matter what it looks like, it's going to stretch in feet. And it's sold by how many feet you buy, no matter what it looks like. Everybody cool? Okay, now there's another problem with this question. Remember, we've already established that the problem with the question is there's stuff in there that isn't math, and it was on a math final. What's the other problem with that question? Nathan?
It tells you the area of the room that was included.
Oh, no. That's perimeter.
Or the perimeter.
That's okay.
But like it doesn't say like the roof could look a different shape or something.
Okay. My argument is this. What's crown molding? You know what it is. Who else? Heather knows what it is. Sage knows what it is. Is anybody else? Rylan? Your job? Okay, a few of you know what it is. But if you don't know what it is, could you do this question? No, because where does crown molding go if you don't know what crown molding is? It goes along the edge of the wall. See that stuff right up there between the textured stuff and the wall? That's crown molding. You guys, some of you will have it in your house where the ceiling meets the wall. Or where the floor meets the wall. Except we call it a baseboard when it's down there.
It's something that goes against the
It goes right against the wall along the edge. So if you didn't know that, could you do this question? No, you might do area. And then the person marking it would think, what about you? That you can't do math. But it's not a math question, is it? I put this question here before you write your first test to let you know if a question like this comes up and you don't know what crown molding or a linear foot is that something you can ask me?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you ask me, what math should I do here? No, of course not, because this is a math class. Everybody understand? So now that you know what it is, crown molding goes around the edge of a room. How much crown molding do I need if the room is that big? Crown molding is sold by the foot. So what should I do with those numbers? I could turn them into feet right now. Or what else could I do? I could divide it now, or I could add it all up and divide it at the end. Which is better?
Add it and then divide it.
Is either one better? No, they're the same. I personally, the way I would do this question is I would add it up. I would go 185 times 2 plus 240 times 2, because I need all four walls, right? And that would get me 370 plus 480, which would get me 850 inches. Right? How do I buy the stuff? I have to buy it in feet. So what do I have to do with that? Divide by 12. Now when you do that with your calculator, what are you going to get? You're going to get a decimal, aren't you? What decimal do you get? It's going to be somewhere around 7 point something. Right? Seven? 70. Thank you. All right. Now, how do I have to buy the stuff? By the foot. This is how much I need, right? So how much is it going to cost? What do I got to multiply that by? 3.79. Is that the right answer? Read the question. It's sold by the what? Foot. Can I buy part of a foot? So what do I need to multiply by? 71. Now, of course, in math class, 71. In reality, would you ever buy it that close? Or would you buy a little extra in case you screw up? Of course you would buy extra in case you screw up. Right? Uh-huh. Now, what if this was 70.3? Would I still need to multiply by 71? Yes, I would, because I have to buy by the foot. So I can't buy a partial foot. It would be like going into Safeway and saying, I'm a little bit thirsty. Can I buy part of a can of Coke? Glug, glug, glug. Ah, perfect. Here. They won't do that. Everybody good? All right. I believe... Okay, there are two more questions there that I think you guys can handle. So your homework is page 20, 21, and 22. And I will remind you, perimeter is this. Area is this. Just to remind you, right? Perimeter is 2 lengths plus 2 widths, and area is length times width.
So for the first question, you'd have to multiply the 8 by 2 or 8
Yep.
before multiplying.
Well, you could also go 8 plus 12 times 2, or you go 8 times 2 plus 12 times 2. You're going to get the same answer.
You could go 8 plus 12.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I guess you will. All right, I got to do attendance. David, Kaylee, Rylan, Jacqueline, Jordan, Nathan. I'm just doing attendance. Devin, Sakshi, Gurja. I cannot say her last name or her first name, but I know what it is. Maywe, Jaden, Nicole, Jashanpreet, Jenna, Halia, Isabel, Heather, Satchot, Sam, Prab. Yeah. Yes. What? Sorry?
What does this say next to perimeter?
This?
Yeah,
2 length plus 2 times width. Or length plus width all times 2. Ethan, Sage, Malik, Kezia, and Keisha. Keisha or Kaisha? I can't remember. Keisha. Not bad. Now who's missing? That person? Pardon me? B of 20. Okay. We know that the shed, this is my yard, right? Right? And we know that the shed covers 1/3 of it, yes? So what's the area of the shed? 40? 96. So how much is this? Yeah. Yes. Perfect. Well done. Look at you. Normally I got to explain that like 37 times. Stop it. What? I'm sorry, what? The answer for 19 is 19. Oh, sorry. Well, it's 71 times 3.79. So 71 times 3 is 210, 203, and then 71 times 79 is probably about 230. Okay, 270. All right.
Isn't the perimeter of the shed 40?
Yes.
Oh, it's an area of this one, right?
Right. Real life. Yo.
If you got 272 and not 269, 270.
If you show me all this work, I'm more than happy.
How do you do area? I can't forget.
I just wrote that. Length times width. Attendance. Does anybody Snapchat or whatever you kids do nowadays with Olivia in Australia? Does anybody know when she is coming home?
She's coming tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. You have it right in front of you. I got to take attendance. I'm sorry, Nathan, what do you need?
I want to write down the length times width.
So write it down. You just said it. Area equals length times width. You just said it. Write it down. I got to do attendance. I keep getting in trouble for not doing my attendance.